Good morning. We're going to start off the morning here in the back of the combine. This is the sieves. So if there's anybody watching this channel that doesn't understand how a combine works, this is the separating part of the combine. So right off the start, you have your header, you cut the crop, feeds in through that auger, goes up a feeder chain. Those things at the back there, those are augers that carry your grain up over top of the sieves. All the big stalks and the big pieces of chaff and straw, they go up over top here, over these walkers out the back. All the smaller chaff and the heads of the grain that have gone through the cylinder, they come up those augers, they get dropped onto this sieve, which shakes back and forth, and the grain falls through. One thing with wheat, if you don't have that real aggressive thrashing ability, we have special concaves in our 9750, more designs suited for thrashing wheat. These 9610s, they do an okay job too. So what happens is the chaff comes over this top set of sieves, the grain falls through it. So you want them opened wide enough the grain can fall through. With wheat, you'll often end up with an unthrashed head or part of an unthrashed head. Well, you want that to fall through as well. Down in the bottom is another set. Now, what falls through the bottom of this one is the grain. And so you want that really only open as wide as a kernel of wheat. Then the wheat falls through there. What goes over top of here goes back through the combine and gets thrashed again. So what we've got is we've got them closed up maybe a little bit tighter, and these ones opened a little wider. So the heads will fall through the top, because if they go over the top, boom, they go out the back. So they'll fall through the top, then they'll go over the bottom and through this auger right here, and then they'll end up going up and getting sent through the cylinder one more time for a second shot at getting rethrashed. Things look pretty good, I think. I'm gonna run up. We clean the combines out, and then the first dump we put in this little brown truck here from each combine, gets the rest of the barley and stuff like that out of it. Put that in a separate bin, and then I'll bring the super bees out, and we will keep rolling as weather permits. So this wheat on the south end, it's not running as good as a guy would like. Of course, realistically, on our farm, we expect basically between a 50 and 70 bushel wheat crop, and that's a pretty good crop for us. I'm not sure where we'll be at, maybe 50, maybe a little less than 50 on this south quarter. However, you got to keep in mind, we had a awesome canola crop on here last year, even in spite of the drought. So I think it took quite a bit out of the land. I suppose at this point it's worth pointing out, so our 3 body jobs that we used to haul with, we did install overview cameras so we can see the back when you're backing up. Not only does it help, obviously, for hauling off the field if you don't have someone to guide you, it's really handy filling the seed drill in the spring. So just a little bit of technology, I guess, that a guy can use. It doesn't break the bank. I'm not exactly sure what the system was, a few $100, and it is an absolute game changer. Lifesaver, you don't have to get in and out. Back saver, you don't have to get in and out so many times. The risk of backing into your auger basically goes to zero. And on a cold day when you're super lazy, so when we 4 years ago in a normal harvest for us, You know, when it was threatening snow and rain and it was -2 all day and you were trying to combine, you could sit in the grain truck and watch your grain unload. Holy moly, good evening, afternoon, whatever it is. Been going hard on wheat here all day since we got going. So what better time for the folks that missed it last year. Testing grain moisture with our tester. I was criticized last year by somebody saying I need to upgrade it. I don't understand that mentality. This works just fine. We send it out and we have it checked every couple of years. We test it to our neighbors. This is worth like, I think, $1,000 maybe. New ones are worth like 30,000 and up, depending on how, you know, fancy you want to get. I mean, you can still get these for a few $1,000s, but what the guy last year that criticized me was getting at, like, oh, you got to get a good one. I'm thinking, like, I don't understand. Like, it works just fine. So anyways, that aside, they got these charts from the government of Canada. I'm sure the Americans are the same. I mean, they use a different bushel, I believe, but all right, here we go. You need to get 250 grams. I was talking, well, I dumped way too much in there. Talking earlier about the unthrashed ones. So these, there's still a wheat in there. Often, sometimes there's not, but often there's still a wheat down in there that we can't get out. You're supposed to put it, it's supposed to go back through the combine. Some there isn't wheat in, but I leave them in there. It's clean enough for us. I'm not going to worry about setting the combine any differently. The wheat is not yielding all that great. I'm thinking maybe around 40 bushels, although it does look nice. So we got our 250 grams. This has already been calibrated, so I'm not going to do that again. Dump it in, drop it down. So it should have went right to the same spot as the other sample because it's all coming off the same field. It's only a few rows over. You get a number here, says about 34, we'll call it. We got to get the 26 degrees. So we go over here, that's 34. Boom. And then we go to 26 degrees. So it's 11.5. As you can see, dry is like 14.5 and under. You can start the whole debate on do grain elevators pay you more if it's drier, because you can imagine if you get the moisture back up to 14.5, you'll have more to sell, right? You'll have more weight. Then the other thing that a guy likes to do every once in a while, I did it earlier, is bushel weight. We don't have the fancy cone thing, but I don't even think that's necessary. Use this ½ liter, toss her on there, zero it. I do use this scooper thing. Hold on a sec. All right, so I don't even take those unthrashed ones out. Dump this in. Okay, I didn't even get enough, hold on. Try this again. So you dump this in. It's really not that scientific, even though they'll tell you it is. You actually do let it overflow. Take yourself a striker. Ruler works just fine. At this point, you don't want to tap anything. You go once across. Weigh it. You got 395. The first one I got was 400. So, but I picked out all these unthrashed ones because you can imagine that they're quite a bit lighter. So if you pick those out, you can fit more wheat in there. The wheat's heavier. We'll go in the middle column here. It's Avery bushels, 395. So we're at 64.9 pounds per bushel. The standard bushel weight of wheat is 60 pounds. So you're going to gain a little bit there too. And actually the other one I did was 400. So it was 65.7 if you pick all these little things out. You get obviously you're going to get a more accurate weight at the elevator because they're going to, I mean, it's their business. They're going to give a shit more. I'm just kind of doing it for my own knowledge. So it is what it is. And when you do it the way I do it, where it's kind of, just a haphazard quick operation, you're never surprised. So like when I go to the elevator, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to walk in and say, oh, my bushel weight is 77 pounds on my wheat, because I like sorted through and I only picked out the biggest, fattest, heaviest ones and I did all that other jazz. I'm the kind of guy that's going to walk in and say, oh, I got something like 64 and a half or 65. And they'll be like, oh yeah, no, it's 64. So I'm never shocked. One thing you want to do, an old friend of my dad's, he's gone now, but he was sitting in our shop one day and he was telling my dad, he said, you know what, I really enjoy coming here because you guys seem to have just as many problems and just as much bad luck as everybody else. The only thing is you don't bullshit about it. And then when he left after a couple of beers, he told my dad, and I'll never forget it, because I was pretty little, or littler I guess than I am, younger than I am now. He said, you bullshit your friends, I'll bullshit mine, but let's not bullshit each other. So I won't bullshit you two. Well, that's it for the 9610 for the evening. Fortunately, the tire man does have a tire that size. It's not new, but it'll act as a loaner tire till we can get a new one. We were down here earlier. We jacked it up just so it wasn't sitting on the rim. Holy smokes, combines are heavy. But they've been plugging away. Dad's probably on his last round. The wind goes down and then the dew sets in pretty early, so Baler Man was relatively successful. We got probably about 130 acres of wheat done here today.